Hello Guardians, it is Ebontis here and you want to work on one of your ritual weapons. The one for the Vanguard is called Buzzard. It is a sidearm. It's got a pretty cool perk on it, Osmosis, which I'll do a review over separately, showing you guys how that works, if I think it's actually a worthwhile weapon or not. But when you look at the requirements for this thing, you've actually got a lot of sidearm kills to get. So here's a tip in kind of an easy way to get these things. Don't have to fight anybody else for them. Works pretty well. You need 450 sidearm kills and 50 airborne sidearm kills. Now, the airborne may sound like a pain in the butt. It's really not that bad. You don't have to, like, switch to a Warlock and float in the air. Literally just when the final bullet hits the target, be jumping in the air. It's pretty easy to do. Sidearms actually have decent airborne accuracy, so all in all, really not that bad. Best way to do things like this is jump into a regular Nightfall. So if you guys are looking at the Vanguard page, the Nightfall over here on the right, pick this one. You'll usually have 3 strikes to pick from. Now, 2 of the 3 this week work pretty well. You're going to have a different set of strikes listed depending on the week you do this. I'm doing this week on the week of the 10th when Season of Dawn comes out, but every week you've got 3 to pick from. There are only 3 strikes that do not have access to lost sectors. Now, some are closer to a lost sector than others, but once you find your lost sector, you can walk out of it, walk back in, walk out of it, walk back in, respawn the enemies over and over, so you really only have to get to it once. So it's still not that big of a deal. Some are just closer than others. This week you've got 2 options, Tree of Probabilities or Savathun's Song. You start in a patrol area, so you can actually make it to the lost sectors. Warden of Nothing is one of the few where you actually can't. You actually start straight up in the prison, in the strike, and you cannot get out to anything else. So you don't have access to a lost sector on this one. Now you could just run the strike, shoot things, but I would probably just do a strike playlist at that point and just run with other people. What you're trying to go here is pick a strike. I'll show you Tree of Probabilities just because it works pretty well. And all you're trying to do is go to the lost sector. You can kill other enemies in the strike. It's totally fine. If you get overwhelmed, dying does slow you down because you have like an 8-second maybe cooldown, and then you have 16 seconds for a respawn. So you have 8 seconds till you can get rezzed. You're by yourself. That won't happen. 16 more seconds. 24 seconds just sucks to twiddle your thumbs. So try not to die. Obviously, if you do, it's not that big of a deal, but try not to. Either way, let's go into the Tree of Probabilities. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so once you land on whatever planet you're on, check and see what lost sector is close by. Mercury, there's obviously just one, but any planet will do. Some are closer than others. I mean, if you end up playing, say, Lake of Shadows, you're going to load into the Trossland, you have 3 to pick from. Pretty easy pickings there. If you go into Titan, and you're doing Savathun's Song, you can turn around and pick either of these on the rig. Cargo Bay 3 is actually really easily farmable as well. Io, for example, either strike's going to start you somewhere in the Rupture. You might be close to Sanctum of Bones, a little more in the middle. You could go to Affix Conduit if you just want to fight different enemies. It's up to you. Either way, whatever strike except the 3 that I've mentioned are going to be able to get you into Patrol Zone. Pick your lost sector of choice, and then go to town. So once you're on your planet, drive over there. The nice thing about Mercury is we actually have sparrows again. Woohoo! I know it's kind of sad to be excited about that, but it's a big thing. Now, for me, I've done this lost sector enough so I know the shielded enemy I'm going to be facing is an Arc Harpy. So I know the Arc Shield makes me bring an Arc Sidearm. So then I can really always just be killing with sidearms no matter what I'm fighting. So that's kind of a thing depending on what lost sector you end up on for whatever week is available for the strikes. Try and have 2 sidearms, 1 kinetic, 1 that matches the shielded enemy type you're fighting. Maybe it's Minotaurs, maybe it's Cabal, maybe it's Arc, who knows. Once you come in, pretty easy pickings here. I mean, sidearms are reasonable, actually. You just got to be somewhat close, which can get a little risky. But really, just like, all you're trying to do, just get as many kills as you can with these sidearms. They go pretty quick if you just start lining them up. And then when it comes to the Airborne Kill, it's honestly this simple. Shoot him in the leg a couple times, jump in the air for the final kill. Nothing more than that. So my focus, honestly, was to get the Airborne Kills first, however I got them. Now, I hear there might be a glitch right now where the airborne kills are going even quicker than they should be. If that's the case, just enjoy it. But if you get to it later and they've patched it, honestly, it's probably not that big of a deal because this is pretty simple stuff. Just take a second, jump in the air, get the final bullet to hit them before you land, and you're kind of good to go. So all you're going to do is come in here, kill as many as you can, get your airborne kills that you feel comfortable with. If you're not comfortable with, like, say, a final boss room, but the early enemies are easier to farm, and the boss room's much deeper into the lost sector, and you've got a lot of enemies to kill. Well, once you're done killing the ones comfortable with, you can run outside and reset the lost sector. And this will work anywhere. Whether you're on patrol, in a Nightfall, in a strike. If you're farming enemies, this is one of those things that can be beneficial for lots of farming for kills. because it's a way to reload enemies over and over, and a lost sector you don't have to fight enemies for. So you see on the bottom left, it now shows Lighthouse. I'll usually give that a few seconds, kind of let things settle, register out here, turn around, and run back in. Some people could do it a little faster, but honestly, I just had a weird glitch earlier, so give it a few seconds to make sure your run isn't worth nothing, and then when you come back down in here, you will be right down here facing a new set of enemies, all brand new. That's really all you got to do. So 450 sidearm kills, doesn't matter what you hit them with. 450 where that last bullet is in the air, you're going to be pretty close, they're fairly accurate. And then when you're done with that, we'll pull this thing back up and you have the strikes points that you need. Now, the strike points are going to be a little bit different because they don't really seem to coincide with, like, the points that you get by running strikes themselves. So running, like, a Nightfall ordeal I don't think is going to speed it up for you. So really, it's just time in the Vanguard strike playlist. If you do this method and you get your 450 sidearm kills, your 50 airborne kills, I was about 50% done with the points, at least, by the time I was done getting my kills by myself anyway. So then after that, I ran about 3 or 4 strikes in the Vanguard playlist, the regular one, and I was done. So it's a pretty easy sidearm to get. Once you're done with it, you're going to go ahead and be able to look at all your glory once you go talk to Zavala, and it looks like this. So the Buzzard is the sidearm, and it's actually got a pretty cool perk, one of the new ones for this season, called Osmosis. Using your grenade ability changes this weapon's damage type to match your subclass until you stow it. If I'm running a Void subclass, I throw a Void grenade. This is now a Void energy weapon until I put it away. That simple. So it actually gives you the option, if your energy weapon, say it's arc, like mine currently for my sidearm, and then I've got a solar machine gun, if I run a Void subclass and I throw that Void grenade, it now makes this a Void energy weapon, and if you need to be like in a match game, Nightfall, managing shields and things like that, this actually has potential to be really important. So I'm going to spend some time with it. I'll get a review out later on, but this is what your glory will be at the end. Could be potentially cool. I mean, I know we're focused on more long-range things this season, and they gave us a sidearm, so that's kind of a little weird, but it's pretty cool, and I definitely like the perk on it. I think it's got some cool potential. So we will see how this thing does. But if you guys haven't seen any of my videos before, welcome. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like below, leave a comment if you just want to say hello. If you haven't subbed to the channel, please do so. Climb on our way to 50K. You guys have been awesome on the support lately. You can find me also on Twitch and Twitter. It's as Ebontis. If you find my name and the cheetah, you've likely found me. So thank you all for the support. Hopefully this guide was beneficial, and I will see all of you very soon in the next one.